It's that time again. It's time for the VCB podcast with your hosts, Jason Smith and Ronaldo Villarreal. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as we close out another year of the VCB podcast. Ray and myself want to wish everybody a happy holiday, and more importantly, a Happy New Year. And we'll talk a little bit about expectations for this podcast this next year, 2024. But before we could do that, I got to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Ronaldo Villarreal. What's up, Ray?
How's it going, Jason?
Here we are, man.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is it. It's been a rough one.
Already December. Gosh, I remember December last year and talking about resolutions and things like that, and seeing what, things have come true and what things are still in the works.
Yeah.
But it is crazy. I'm like, where did time go?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, and growing.
And growing. And when we're growing, that makes it fun. So it goes by really fast.
Yeah. Nathaniel had his first winter performance this last week. And seeing him this year versus what he did last year, tremendous growth.
Yeah.
This kid was literally center stage, singing his little heart out.
That's awesome.
He was like, I can actually literally hear him singing his Christmas song, and he's just dancing and everything. And it's crazy to just see the growth in 1 year for him. And
that's the amazing thing about parenthood, is watching the growth of our children.
Yep.
It gets harder, Ray. I always tell you that. Tell you that.
I'm seeing it.
I got 3 in high school right now, 1 in junior high, and it's completely different. Like I hear you tell your stories, and it reminds me of the yesteryears and what the kids used to be. But at the same time, it's like, and I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it. But I already have one that has made me a grandpa, so I'm also knowing what's coming. Right, this is the end. They're going to be wanting to leave the nest. And it's hard. It's hard, to see them grow up sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, mine still can't leave yet, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, you got time. Enjoy it. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
yeah.
You already are enjoying it, but just take a few extra moments to take it all in and hold on to it, because it's fast, bro. It goes fast.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Just like the year. Just this year, it started off rough for the podcast.
Yeah.
It started off rough. And when you start off rough, it just felt like we never got our legs this year. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'll be completely transparent. It's okay. Right? Nothing ever is perfect. You just got to keep pushing forward. And I think you and I both have did that.
Yes.
But when you have years like this, I get more excited for what's coming.
Exactly.
Because we have a time to hit the reset button now and kind of just start off new. We got a fresh new logo.
Yeah. I love it. You got some stickers too for it.
You got some stickers too. So
if you want a sticker, come to the podcast and you might get a sticker.
Well, hey, it might be some good motivation. Like, you guys want a sticker? Why don't you guys email us a question that we can answer?
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Right? And the motivation there is maybe we can hand out a sticker for that.
Yeah, pretty dope.
Or a sticker to the best question.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the best.
We'll figure it out. But either way, send us a question. Communicate. Participate. I think that's the one thing we're going to focus in on next year is finding ways to get you guys to be more interactive, participate, ask questions, and even make some guest appearances and actually come on the podcast and tell us your experience with Valley Center for the Blind.
Yeah, because what was that? Sorry. This weekend, we had a little gathering with some of our clients here, and we have one individual out there that listens to our podcast, and he came up and said, I love listening to your guys' podcast because it's inspiring.
I know who it is.
Yeah, and it's always good to hear that for us because we don't always get those interactions as much, but it keeps me motivated to keep doing these things, and I appreciate every time people do that. Come in person, or look forward to people sending us emails and stuff like that, and on Facebook and things, or YouTube. So.
And on the way back here to record this episode, Crystal stopped me in the hallway and just got done working with a client, and she was like, "Hey," she listens to the podcast and she loves it. It's motivating. So there's two, well, I know technically three people that have consistently told me thank you for this podcast. So I hope everybody feels that way, and I hope that we can continue to make a difference in your life and inspire you to continue to go down your path and find your place in our community, in our society, and become successful. That's what we're about. So.
Definitely.
So speaking of that real quick too, like the year is ending. So VCB is going to be shutting down for a week.
Closing, not shutting down, closing. Shutting down sounds scary to me.
Well, it does. Okay, well, so does closing. We got it without context.
Taking a break.
Without context. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to be taking a break. Well said. Yeah. Yes. Closing, shutting down, like erase them from your thoughts. Okay, we are. I forgot it. We were taking a break.
Taking a well-deserved break.
Yeah. And so as of December 22nd, which is a Friday, that will be the last day before the break. So if there's anything that you need to make sure that you take care of by calling Linda or Matt or myself or Ray or whoever your contact is, your instructor, it could be Crystal, Martel, Tom, Alvin, etc.
Everyone,
make sure that you do that, because for a week there'll be a break and we will be back on January 2nd, 2024. So put that on your calendar, January 2nd, 2024.
2024. If you need some canes, come down here before the 20s, before the break, because
you need anything. You need anything.
I know that happened one year. It's like somebody's unfortunately traveling and their cane broke at the train station and they needed to come down. They weren't a client or anything. They just like, I'm traveling and somehow my cane broke and I need to still go to my final destination. Can I buy a cane off of you guys?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I helped one of our employees' friends who had the same kind of situation. I just happened to have an extra one.
Yes.
And I said, here, just take it. I like to collect them. I'm a little bit of a collector.
Oh my gosh. I'm running low on mine, actually, to be honest with you. So yeah, but during the holidays, we're all doing travels and we all need that spare cane. So
yeah,
just putting it out there.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind, mark that on your calendar, because it is important and we don't want you to be left without for a week. So, or make sure that there's anything that you need or you feel like you need to be taken care of, make sure it's done by the 22nd.
Can I do a little plug though?
Sure.
If there is something that you're in need and the center is closed, you also can still use the DEP resource line.
Well played.
The Disability Equity Providers line. They will still be open during the break. Shout out to that team. Thank you very much.
My final pop quiz of 2023 for you, Ray. What's the number?
888-468-9115.
Dude, he passed. He did it.
Oh, don't ask me in a week.
Once again, that's 1-888-468-9115. The DEP line will be open. They could help you in so many different ways. Ray, kind of share a little bit what they can expect from DEP.
So the DEP team is always growing with resources and support for our clients and anyone just in general. We never turn away a call. And so some of those resource supports could be, as of like, where can I find a cane? Because my cane broke, or I need some, unfortunately, we've had calls where people's like, I just need a place to keep warm. For the day. So they'll have information on the nearest warming shelters during this cold season. We've had rain issues before where floodings occurred. So we've been able to find resources to support our disability community on providing, sandbags and things like that in the areas that need. So food support, food drives, food support, even gifts, needing gifts for the holiday. So they can find local areas to support people that are in need. So coat drives, things like that. So
excellent.
And if they don't have that information that you're looking for, don't fret. They will do the research. They are your go-to research people too. So they can help you out in that way.
Awesome. A lot of things to look forward to. It's pretty amazing. And real quick, next week on Tuesday the 19th, we are going to be going live on Facebook. So if you're not a part of Facebook, make sure that you go to our Facebook page, Valley Center for the Blind, right there on Facebook. Follow the page and stay up to date. You can ask questions. It'll be a Q&A style show. And We haven't nailed down for certain reasons of who's actually going to be hosting. I know Ray will be one of the hosts for sure. So Ray would definitely be there. But just stay tuned. It'll be at 1:30 on Tuesday the 19th. We'll be going live on Facebook. You guys could go ask any question live. You can send it in early. But just make sure that you tune in. We're really looking to engage with you this holiday season and answer your questions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those questions. I'm trying to lock down our executive director as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're pushing forward. We're trying to get that all ironed out and lined up. So make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss it. Doesn't matter who's going to be in front of the camera. It's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a great one.
It's going to be a fun one. You know, and we just want to remind everybody, I mean, all of this is possible because of your guys' hard work and your inspiration in the community. And if you're already a donor and you're listening to this podcast, we want to thank you. And we want to let everybody know that opportunity is always at your fingertips. You can go to myvcb.org, go to myvcb.org, look for the donate button. You can do a one-time donation, or you can even apply and do a monthly donation at a cost that works for you.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. With that said, I think we're going to go ahead and jump into VCB stories. Am I missing anything? I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
It's the last one of the year, and it's just like I said, it's been a roller coaster ride, but nevertheless, it's been a fun one, and we look forward to next year, 2024. But with that said, we're going to head into our ending conversation with someone who I think is he's fantastic, Ray. I mean, this guy is just nonstop. He's crazy. He's a little crazy. He's a little fun. Yeah. He's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. He tries to be independent.
He tries to be independent, you know. Anyway, stay tuned for some VCB stories. It's that time again. It's time for VCB Stories. The segment where Ray and myself get to talk to one amazing individual and get a story of something inspiring, something educational, or something that just fits our community. So without further ado, I'm going to be handing the mic over to the one, the only, Ronaldo Villarreal. What's up, Ray?
No. What's up, Jason? How's it going, Jason?
Wait. Am I the fantastic, amazing guest this week on VCB Stories?
You know what? Yes. And this time I am this year. Wow. This time's host. So
I got to be quiet.
Welcome, Jason.
So hard for me to be quiet. Well, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much for coming on our VCB podcast and sharing your story about a journey that you took this year and an accomplishment you just were able to do this past month, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, man, time is flying by.
Yeah.
So we are getting an opportunity to flip the roles here.
Yes,
and
it's different.
It's a little different. So having me do the interviewing process, Jason was like, just treat it as like how you do a job interview.
Right,
like, man,
it's just question and answer.
So different. So, but anyways, I'll just get straight to it. You know me, yeah. I'm always just get straight to the point. Let's get this going and get some wonderful conversation going. So, Jason, let's talk to the audience about your journey and regarding Project Athena, right? Athena.
That is correct. Project Athena.
So, first of all, I've heard about this project or this wonderful thing.
Yes.
A couple of times already from different individuals, but never had an opportunity to sit down with somebody and walk me through this process of Project Athena and what it is and what goes into it. I got an opportunity to see you this year practice and train for it. So can you share with the audience what this is, Project Athena?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't start the conversation without giving a big shout out to Sarah Harris, who's the president of our board right now for Valley Center for the Blind. She's also a major part of everything that's going on over to RICB as well, and all the other CCB and all the other stuff that she's into, and our very own Shanair Derrick as well, who, he's our handy ride correspondent who just actually got an award from Fresno. Big shout out to them anyway, right? Because they're the ones
doing great things.
Yeah, they really are. They're really impacting the community, but they're the ones that brought this to Kenny and I. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember Kenny Clausell. He's been on the podcast, I believe, one time. He's an avid runner who just qualified for the Boston Marathon as well.
Yes.
So big shout out to Kenny for that. We got to get him in and talk about that experience too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they approached us and many times about it. We had our very own Jeff Willis, who's also went through Project Athena.
Shout out to Jeff.
Big Jeff, what's up?
Sure.
Appreciate you, Jeff. And there's a story behind that, but I'll let him tell it. We'll have to bring Jeff on to tell that story. It's pretty funny. And so Kenny and I were talking because we do a lot of stuff outside, VCB, and we do some things. And we were like, hey, this is something that we want to go tackle. So we contact Sarah and Chenier, and not only did they give us the information we need, they're like, you know what? We're going to go and support you. We're going to go with you, and we're going to go on this journey together. So all 4 of us got to do this. So big shout out to them. And, it's pretty simple. You go to projectathena.com. and you fill out the application, and there's several different questions about what you had to overcome. So Project Athena, basically, it's not just for blindness. It's for anybody that has had to have a tragic setback. Something happened in their life that tragically set them back. I met so many amputees, people that have survived cancer, hip and arthritis surgeries. So there's a plethora, I love using that word, a plethora of things that you can go through that qualifies you. And if they select you, they pay for the whole thing.
Okay.
For your first time.
Yes.
Right. So if you're a woman, you get to go in as an Athena. If you're a guy, you get to go in as a Zeus. So Kenny and I went in as Zeuses.
Wow.
Sarah and Chenier are actually goddesses for life. They've done several events. So Project Athena does a harbor to harbor in San Diego. You can walk. There's one walk for 26 miles, another walk for 56.
Ooh.
They have a rim to rim Grand Canyon adventure, which is not, they won't take us on that one. It's very, very dangerous. They hike at night. Not the ideal situation for us.
Understandable.
We have to be careful. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And then they have Keys to Recovery, which is from Key Largo to Key West is the one we did.
Oh, down in Florida, right? On the Key West area. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. From Key Largo to Key West. It's 120-ish miles kayaking and biking across the Keys.
Kayaking and biking?
Yes.
Okay. That is extreme.
At
least for me.
No, trust me, dude. It's intense.
Yeah.
It's intense. So obviously Kenny and I got qualified for it. So it was cool.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit about what was, I guess your motivation was just to, do something new for yourself, right? And what else motivates you, outside of just Sarah and Chenier? What made Jason say, okay, finally, this is going to be my year to do it? So
those who know me best, right? I literally want to always give back, especially since I found Valley Center for the Blind. It's really opened up, no pun intended. It's opened my eyes to a whole new world, or closed them to a whole new world, however you want to look at it. And before I started working here, I started a project called Independently Blind, the YouTube page. Kenny helps me with that now. And the idea is for us to educate, advocate, motivate, and inspire people to live an active, independent lifestyle, right? To get out of their comfort zone, to get out the house, try something new. It doesn't have to be a crazy 120-ish mile trek across Key Largo and all the way into Key West or anything, but it could be simply a walking group, try running, try exercising, find some type of activity, some sport you do. And we just don't want to talk about it. We want to be about it.
Right.
So last year, our adventures, we went to Universal Studios and did a Halloween Horror Nights. 2 blind guys going around doing Halloween Horror Nights. That was a fun one. Yeah. But this year we wanted to push it more. And I needed a kick in the pants because I've been inactive as far as athleticism for a long time. So this was an opportunity for me to get back into shape.
Yeah.
So that was one of the many key factors on why we decided to do this trip. And it just sounded fun as heck. It sounded fun as heck.
Yeah.
Tiring and a lot of work, but fun as heck.
Kayaking and a bike ride. For, what is it, 3 days you said?
3 days.
Oh, my God.
In 3 days,
So, yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
So to walk me through, so you did the application and you got accepted. So, and this, you actually did the is it called a marathon, or what is it? How's it called? What do they call it? dual. You got to,
which one are you talking about again?
well, the Project Athena. So what is it called? Like,
It's an adventure.
It's not a marathon.
It's an adventure.
So you got to do the adventure this November.
Yeah.
So give me the timeline when you got approved, and then I know that you had to go through a training process. How did that go?
And that's the big gray area. So after we were accepted, there was this long period of waiting for emails and waiting for what's going on. And quite honestly, it's a process. And anybody who decides to do it and gets accepted, feel free to reach out to me, Kenny, Sarah, Chenier, anybody who's been a part of it. Will help you understand the process, because it's a lot. Some of it's a lot, like the paperwork and all that. But once you get all that down, they start having Zoom call meetings right around the end of June.
Okay.
And right around July, it was like the day at July 3rd, to be exact. It might have been the day before, 4th of July, you get your training schedule. Mm-hmm. And the training schedule is intense. And I remember looking at the training schedule going, my goodness, a 4-hour row. And for us, Kenny and I, and Chenier and Sarah, I think Chenier and Sarah weren't sponsored this time, so I don't know if they were part of that. We would have to ask them. But Kenny and I had to follow this schedule because they're paying our way, right? They want to make sure if they're paying for you, you're in the right physical condition to do the trip.
Right.
But we don't have access to kayaks all the time. I mean, I've been kayaking. I do it with Adaptive, right? So I know how to kayak, but we're talking like 4-hour rows inside a gym on a row machine.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't do a 4-hour row in the row machine in the gym. I made it about 3, but it's a different type of training. But I'm working those kinks out too. So I mean, I'm going to try to find ways to train differently for the next time. But there
is going to be a next time.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a next time. And in fact, I mean, again, I want to do it just because I want to better what I did this last time. It's not a race. It's just personal, right? It's just continuing to challenge yourself. And the trip is worth it, and it's a great organization to support. So as far as that goes, I plan on doing it again. And, bringing people with me, pulling back the current a little bit, people who know back in 2018, my wife got sick. Mm-hmm. And she went through like one of the biggest tragedies I've ever witnessed or been a part of in my life. And I think she's going to tackle it next year. So I'll definitely be going to support her anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we want to go and help support, and the way that Chenier and Sarah did, we want to continue to pay that opportunity forward as well.
Yeah, pay it forward, right?
But yeah, exactly. We'll raise money. You could fundraise and stuff. So yeah, and they give you the opportunity to do that. They set up the profile and make that all possible.
So yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a fundraising campaign coming soon.
There you go. Always supporting the community.
Yeah.
So 4-hour rowing training process,
biking, like 2-hour bike rides on the stationary bike inside the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were there times that you were like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, or like your process through the training? Like, were there a point where like skepticism or not like worries that you weren't going to be able to perform?
For me personally, humbly, no. I challenge myself. I've always challenged myself, especially when it comes to athletics and things like that. I've always had this. I mean, in fact, I probably put too much in it. My biggest concern was maybe trying to train too hard and hurting myself, right. To be honest. So I had to be really careful and dial it back a couple of times because I get real ambitious. And like I share with Kenny and everybody, it's not a race, right? So it wasn't about whether or not I wanted to be first. I just didn't want to hold anyone back, right? I wanted to train and take it seriously enough. That's the way that I am, and I just wanted to be with the pack.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And thank God I trained.
Well, because honestly, like I said, I've known about this, or at least known that you were participating this year in training. And and again, I started seeing it, like, of course, when you were doing, work schedules here. You were taking your lunch breaks.
Yep.
And, you were walking over to the gym that's luckily conveniently close to our agency.
Yep.
And training every day.
Every day, twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah. I'd hit it at my lunch and hit it at night.
Yeah. That's intense.
Yeah.
Like for me to think about it, Nathaniel says I have a jiggly belly.
I still do a little bit.
So it's just like thinking about that's a lot of commitment, my friend. And I applaud you for that. And then also seeing you get a chance, at Adapted Sports, actually physically doing kayaking.
Yes.
And being able to do that. So
yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So so the journey of the training process, was there anything else you had to do to prepare for, as a, let's talk about it as a blind, a blind low vision individual, to prepare for this trip?
Just like anything we do, right? Communication is key. So being able to communicate with the Project Athena team, we've helped them out understanding that the Training Peaks app that we use is not fully accessible. We're continuing to actually work with them. Kenny just met with them on December 5th, and we're going to be in continuous talks with them on trying to find alternative training apps that they could use that'll be adaptable for the blind. And they're so open to it. They're so amazing about it. They want to work with us. They want to talk with us. They want to be better at that. And just like everything's got to be limited, because it's not just the blind community, right? Amputees. And so they're learning that they're going to have to either boost their team up or limit certain things because they have to have the capacity to support.
Right.
But we're working with them on that. And it outside of the communication process, you have to listen to the coaches, right? So it really kind of adapts to what Valley Center for the Blind does in a lot of ways. You got to be communicative. You got to learn to speak for yourself, advocate for yourself. Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this. Not only to yourself, but to the people that are going to be helping you and coaching you along, as well as patience, right? Because Kenny and I, like I said, we don't have kayaks. We don't have kayaks on our trucks because we don't have no trucks. We don't have no trucks because we don't have a driver's license, right? So we're not going to the lake every day or every weekend. So we had to make sure that we figured out ourselves how we were going to prepare our bodies for such an excursion, because it is a lot. It's intense.
Right.
And I'm never going to shy away from that. Now that I've done it, I can let you know if it's something that you want to do, you got to train. But the cool part is nobody's left behind.
Yeah.
It's the mentality of the project. So it's not a race. So even if you're struggling, you're having a bad moment, someone's going to come up, push you, tow you, pull you along. They'll be your strength.
Right.
But, again, when I heard that, I was like, okay, I don't want to be that guy. that's just the way I'm wired, right?
Right.
So just patience and communication. It's probably the two biggest things as people that have disabilities that we have to do. We have to be patient and we got to communicate.
Right. Well, that just goes without saying, a lot, with, like you said, in our community, you got to be able to communicate. And so did you get a coach, like a personal coach to help you through this process, or do they group it like instructors, so when you're going to the gym, I'll move forward, but just curious myself. Yeah. Did they give you like a personal trainer or an agenda, and you check in? What, like you were saying Zoom calls before as well. So.
Yeah. So it's the agenda, right? So on Training Peaks, I was able to access and figure out what the exercise of the day was. And, then I use my Apple Watch, shout out Apple Watch, and it did communicate with the Training Peaks app. So it would update that I did the exercise. It just wouldn't like measure distance. It wouldn't measure, and that helps them see, that helps them understand, like, are you doing enough? Are you doing it at a pace? Are you going to be ready? So right away when he noticed that, shout out to Eric. He's the trainer for Project Athena. He contacted Kenny, myself, Shanier, and we all got on a Zoom meeting and we talked out a plan on how we were going to communicate with him every week through email, letting him know what our numbers were.
Right.
And then it was up to us again to communicate with whoever we needed to help us get that data off the machines. Like, how far did it say we rode? So he could do the math and figure out how many strokes per minute we were doing.
Wow.
Or, bike was a lot easier to measure, especially at Planet Fitness. If you're low vision, their bike machines are amazing for that. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, it's just a lot of communication, but no personal trainer in the gym. You have to push yourself.
Wow. So a lot of self-motivating and understand what your goal is. We talk about SMART goals here at the agency.
Absolutely.
So you had in a sense, a SMART goal. You had a timeline. Yep. You were being measured every week, on your progress. You're making a realistic goal for yourself, and it seemed like it was attainable. And of course you had the subject.
And they set up a WhatsApp too, so you have an opportunity to get to know everybody that's going in on the trip, and you motivate each other.
That's a good thing you said that. How many individuals are participating in this in your group that you just came from?
I'm trying to remember how many started. Some people obviously didn't make the trip, but I think there was 30. As far as like Athena's, I think Athena's, and Zeus's that were there for the first time, I think the number was around 8 or 9.
Okay.
But total with they call them goddesses and trail angels. There's about 30 plus of us on the trip. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a good amount of people.
Oh yeah, and a lot of amazing, inspiring people, dude.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Well, let's get into it then.
Yep.
You finally completed the training, and it was mid-November.
Yeah.
So, I remember this was around Dying in the Dark time.
Yep.
So you're flying out.
Yeah.
So
that was fun.
I heard a little bit about some weathering.
Yeah. we landed in a hurricane.
Literally.
Literally.
It's like, oh my gosh. So tell me your experience then. Flying. Was flying for your first time? Probably not.
It's not my first time that I've flown, but this is the first time that I was that far away from California. I mean, we're talking about way on the other side of the United States, man. It was different.
Independently traveling as a blind individual.
Yeah, and it went really well. If you talk to me, it went really well. If you talk to Kenny, I'm sure I'll go ahead and pull the curtain back on that too. I left water in my water bottle going through TSA.
Oh man!
And
good
Kenny
job.
was Kenny reminded me, what are you doing leaving water? It was pretty funny. But outside of the water in my bottle, the travel went real well. We were well taken care of by Southwest. We flew out of San Jose, so Southwest Airlines, and they really did take good care of us.
Yeah.
No problems with the flight, getting through TSA, getting to our gate.
Was it a direct flight?
No, we stopped in Nashville, but we didn't have to leave the plane.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we landed in Nashville to unload and then load some people up. Then we flew off to Fort Lauderdale.
Wow, you're lucky. I
don't know, man, because sitting there for 6 plus almost 7 hours.
Stretch your feet. Wait, they didn't let you off because you had. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We stayed on the plane. I mean, we could have stepped and walked around, but when you're visually impaired, you kind of just, there was it was fast paced.
And typically when you do a layover, you get to grub on some food in the airport.
Yeah.
So I guess. All right. I'm just talking about my own travel times and things like I did before. But anyways, This is your story.
That's all good. It's fine. And like I said, the funny part was landing in the hurricane, and we didn't realize it was a hurricane until later that night.
Yeah. Jeff called me and told me that, he's like, I'm looking at the weather right now, and it's like, it's crazy, and this is when Jason's supposed to be, and I was like, oh, shoot.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and speeded up a little bit. Shanier and Sarah came in later. They flew from Fresno. They had layovers, but we were still up, so we went to go say what's up at their hotel room, and Shanier's like, let's go with me to take Barney down to go to the restroom. We're like, all right, and because Barney just got dry because he was soaked.
His guide dog,
yeah, Barney the guide dog. So we go out to the front lobby, and I think Kenny or someone made the comment, it wasn't raining that bad. I've never seen that much rain coming down, Ray. The palm trees were almost touching the ground. We were like, whoa. And just to let you know, so where we started was Fort Lauderdale. That's where we all met. But the excursion starts in Key Largo, which is like 2 hours away. So in Fort Lauderdale, just that night, they had 7 inches of rain.
Wow.
Key Largo had 16 inches.
Double.
Yeah.
More than double.
Yeah. So that's what we flew into. It was pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you landed safely.
Yep.
You got in your hotel, and so just tell me, I'm a person that I like little details.
The little details.
Alex always, my wife always is like, tell me your experience. Walk me through it. Because I picture it. So we're trying to build an image for our audience right now about this trip. And it's like, so this, day 0 in a sense. Travel was always day 0.
Yep.
So day 1, how's that go?
Day 1, I mean, we got to meet Eric the trainer and his wife, Victoria, who were just flat out amazing. We also met Jerry. She runs all the operations. And there was Daniel, who's a trail angel. But they spotted our luggage because we had the Project Athena tags on. So they had already grabbed our luggage for us, and they put us in they really took care of us. And day 1, we had breakfast, and we got to meet a lot of the other contestants or participants, better word for it. And then we got to split up into these vans. And, the theme was, obviously, it was me, Kenny, Shanier, and Sarah constantly together in the vans and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But we also had, some of the trail angels, they call them, and stuff in there. And
trail angels definition for that.
So basically, it's their volunteers, right? And basically, the organization is ran by ex-military, ex-firefighters, and just adventure racers, right? The person who runs the whole thing, her name's Robin Benacasa. You guys can look her up on YouTube. She's a motivational speaker, firefighter, adventure racer. She was part of one of the #1 adventure teams ever. She holds Guinness Books of World Records for kayaking. She's amazing. She truly is amazing. She has an amazing story, and she's an amazing motivator. And this thing she put together is just top notch. So a trail angel is what they call blue shirts. If you find me on Facebook or whatever, you'll see a bunch of people in blue shirts. Those are trail angels. They're the ones that are pushing you, motivating you. For like Kenny, Sarah, Shanier, and myself, we had a tandem bike, so they were our pilots.
Oh,
so
okay.
Things like that. Yeah,
awesome.
So then we had to drive, and it took us a while because of the hurricane that came through.
Just a little bit of weather.
Yeah. So day one is really all about getting to Key Largo and then prepping. So we stop at a Publix. And I would get shot if I didn't mention that Kenny thinks that Publix fried chicken is the most amazing fried chicken he's ever had, I guess. But so he liked that. But you get some food, some snacks. But if you're sponsored and you're a Zeus or an Athena, I mean, trust me, they feed you like more food than you can handle.
Oh, you got to have that energy to do it 120 miles.
Yeah. 120-ish is what they like to say. I got a sticker that says 120-ish miles, give or take.
That's still, I give it credit to you guys.
Yeah.
120 miles. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
So yeah, got to get that fuel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
day one's all about learning how to set up your transition bag. And for your transition bag, basically your kayak and biking. So day one is a kayak and a bike. And the last 2 days is your biking, kayaking, biking. So you have to transition several times into different gear to finish the race, or not the race. I keep calling it a race. It's not a race. It's an adventure.
I get it. It's an adventure. Yeah. I because I think, I get that. So let me ask you this, you were using physical exercise equipment in the gym.
Yes.
And like you said, you don't have access to a kayak regularly. Mm-hmm. Tell me the experience using using the gym equipment versus actually using the actual equipment, the kayaks and the bikes. Have you ever rode a tandem bike?
No. And it's a great question because there was a learning curve. Small, very small. And really, their trail angels have done it before. They're really good about, and again, it's all about communication. Mm-hmm. Riding on a tandem bike, it's all about communicating with each other, stopping and coming up with your code of when you're going to be turning, how to turn, where the pedals are when you're turning, left, right, we're going to stop. And you pick that up pretty quick if you have the right. I had a great pilot, Mitch. He's a Green Beret. Wow. Awesome.
Thank you.
And for service, yeah, like he's all military, boy. Let me tell you, he's military from head to toe. But the difference between the reality of what we did in the training, I felt it more in the kayak. Mm. Now,
well, you're in the water too. That's some cold stuff right there.
No, actually, the Atlantic's beautiful, bro.
Wow. I'm used to the Pacific Ocean.
Oh man, the Atlantic Ocean it's beautiful, bro. I mean, the teals, the aqua colors, the tropical fish you see. Just if you have usable vision, obviously, but it was so gorgeous. But strength wise, no problem. Okay. I was strong enough. I felt good. But when it comes with kayaking, it's all about technique, and you don't get that in the gym.
Yeah,
and that's why
you can veer a lot with the kayak.
Well, when you're tandem kayaking, kind of like we did at Adaptive, right? Yeah, so they have rudders too. Yeah. So we were called the motors, right? And just to let you know how the training went, Kenny and I were considered motors, and we were good motors. So they trusted us. Well, I mean, like we had enough skill and strength that they trusted us, whoever they paired us with, to steer us, that we would be the strength and they would be the steerer. But they were relying on us to be strong paddlers, and we were able to do so. Day one, the water, it was the calm after the storm. The water was like glass. We did an 8-mile kayak, and it was like butter. Easy. I don't want to say easy. It's still kayaking. You're still working, but day two was a whole different ballgame. Headwind, waves, and it was rough. Day two was rough, and you felt it in your shoulders, every part of your upper body, man. And like they told us, technique is everything. I plan on going this year. That's the goal. And I plan on kayaking a lot more, real kayaking. Finding ways to rent a kayak, finding ways to, even if I got to talk to Randy at Adaptive and go up there more and get in a kayak and just get my technique down. Right. I mean, if you want to go, we could definitely work on building the strength. We can get you strong enough, but technique is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially because when I think of techniques, and it's probably, I don't know, you might have the, I always think of technique as a visual thing though. Like, cause you have to understand.
It can be.
Because sometimes, and I've been watching videos and they talk about like, the way to do a lift. You have to watch the form or how you do a golf stroke. Yeah. So when you're saying techniques, it worries me a little bit because I'm, considering this.
I got a good answer too.
So how do you approach that?
Well, big shout out again to Randy and Adaptive Sports because they do teach you basic technique, right? And how the paddle should be held. So I at least had that going for me. But again, they're really thorough at Project Athena. And in these meetings that we would talk, they kept us and they started asking about, what would be work best as far as training, because they know that there's a lot of times. So Shanir's been a few times now, right? Yes. And there's times where they had to tell Shanir, hey, your paddle's backwards, or switch it this way, switch it that way, because we can't see that. Yeah. Right. So we
show the logo.
Show the logo, but we came up with the idea. So they took zip ties, right? So at the beginning, they gave us our oars and we got into our 90-degree angles and we held them up on our head. And she would come by and she would zip tie it by her thumb and then tape it. So we knew every time that we grabbed the paddle where our hands should be. And as long as our thumbs were on the bumps, we knew our paddle was the right way. Okay. Which helped technique, right? Because now we know always our paddle is going to be at the proper angle. Right. Then after that, it's really muscle memory, Ray. So so if you've never kayaked before and you're going to do this journey in your training, I'm personally going to go to REI because I know they sometimes hold classes, and I'm going to try to get involved with them and do some classes and work on my technique, because in kayaking, it's muscle memory. Right. It's how you're shifting your legs and your back and your arms all in a certain way and using your obliques. And if you develop that technique, your endurance is better. So I'm going to be transparent. I was all upper body, bro. I didn't have the proper lower technique. I kept trying, but I relied on using all upper body strength. And that's why I was sore and very fatigued towards the end of each kayak. Yeah. But again, technique, it can be visual. And the part that I feel with kayaking that's visual, they did a great job of communicating with us, and we all devised a plan that worked, that took the visual out of it, I feel like. And if anybody knows Shanir, that dude's strong as heck. Yeah. And that guy was, talk about a motor, he was more like a speedboat. And I think, because he always had his oar in the right position. Right. So, there is visual things to technique, but if you figure those out by advocating for yourself and thinking outside the box and working with others to figure out how we could correct those visuals, the rest of it's just body mechanics.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Well, again, I'm just picturing this, and now I'm just seeing you guys all kayaking through the Atlantic or the water, and so how about biking? I heard a funny story last year. Okay, well, it's funny.
You talking about Jeff's story?
Yeah, we'll leave it for Jeff.
They brought up Jeff's story too. But
that's why I wanted to talk about that.
I started busting up because I'm not going to say what it is. We'll let Jeff do it one day. But when they brought it up, I started laughing because I knew exactly who they were talking about. But yeah, that's very uncommon, to be honest with you. Poor Jeff. Yeah. But it can happen. And the biking for me was the easiest for me, outside of the fact that the bikes we had were probably not the best, and they're working on that too. In fact, Kenny's working on some of his connections to see if we can get better bikes to Florida. Just because they need, you just can't go rent a tandem bike. Yeah. Not too many people want to ride tandem. No. Yeah, those are. So we're working on that. But I mean, your job when you're visually impaired on a tandem bike is you just got to be able to pedal. You don't have to worry about steering. You just have to pedal. In my legs, I trained really hard on the bike. That was the most easiest training, right? Just got on a stationary bike 2-3 hours at a time sometimes.
Another 8 miles, right?
I was doing some of that. I went a couple of times to, what do they call that? The biking classes?
Cycling.
The cycling class that they call spin class.
Spin class. Yeah,
Spin, right? And that's pretty intense. That will help you too. And Florida, like they always say, like Florida hills, like they're not real like big steep hills. That we're not going up to the Sierras here, or, hiking or biking up to Millerton or anything like that. These are just bridges, a lot of bridges.
It's a nice scenery.
Oh my gosh, you got to go on my Facebook and look at some of the pictures, dude. They're it's so gorgeous. Everywhere you turn, it's ocean, and it's teal and it's aqua. And there's birds and fishes diving in the water, and it's just gorgeous everywhere. Palm trees. It's Florida.
I've never been to Florida. That's why.
Well, I know either have I, but it's just the colors, the smells. It's almost like you remember being on California. Because I know you went to Disney, Disney California, and soaring over California, and they have the smells, and you smell the ocean.
Yeah. Like a 4D
experience.
Just
like that, dude. It smells just like that. You're like. You're in the Bahamas, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was 80 degrees. It was beautiful.
Wow.
But there was one trek that was hard. The hardest trek, I think, was they have a bridge that's called the 7 Mile Bridge. And yes, literally it's a 7 Mile bridge.
A bridge that's 7 miles. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're just on the water, dude. Like the keys, if you look at it on the map, there's all these little like keys that stick out at the tip of Florida. And those are the keys. That's Key West. And there's Key Largo and Key something. And I don't know all the keys, but you're going from Key Largo to Key West, and Key West has the southernmost tip of the United States there. So, and that's one of your destinations. But the 7 Mile bridge, you can't stop. Like once we start, because there's no bike lane.
There's traffic.
You're going over this bridge, and there's a 3 mile uphill on it. But it's not like an intense uphill. Like when we were doing the hill, incline. And maybe I'm saying that, so don't take my experience for your own. But I mean, because of my training and my amazing pilot, like we powered through that. But the what gets in your head is hey guys, for the next 7 miles, there's no brakes. Like we have to tackle this. We have to put our heads down and go. If you get a blowout or a flat, hug the wall and wait for Reaper. They call him Reaper. He's the guy that always stays behind kayaking and biking, and he'll push you or fix your bike or whatever you need. He's the do-it-all guy. Army Ranger, by the way. Awesome dude.
Awesome name.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, right? He's a really awesome dude. I mean, there's some funny people, dude. Like there's some funny stories. I'll let other people tell those stories, but some of the stuff I don't want to talk about is because you have to go experience it.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way: every day there's a surprise.
Wow.
They do a really good job. So if I told you all the things that we got to do and see, then what would be the point, right?
Right.
So it's part of the journey.
Some magic in there.
Yeah, yeah. And so that 7 mile back ride was the toughest, but yeah, it was fun. Real fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I forgot what day we were on. I'm guessing.
Well, we're kind of mixing the days up, to be honest with you. I mean, it's 3 days. I mean, so just real breakdown to not make this podcast probably too long for anybody, but I mean, like I said, we start off with the kayaks. It was beautiful. We did a 25 mile bike ride after that. That was brutal, but fun. And we ended up on the water, a hotel on the water, and which I don't know if they'll be able to do next year. That's why I'm saying it. And it was gorgeous. There's a picture of all of us on the dock, me, Chenier,
like
Kenny,
actual hotel
Barney.
on the water?
Well, I mean, it's like literally if I walked out my room, I was on a balcony that was over the ocean. Yeah.
Wow.
Literally like
I got to see
I could touch down. There's like mantas. Yeah, it was beautiful. And we had beautiful dinners, dude. It was just so awesome. They had happy hour for those who just wink. You could, yeah. No one got drunk or nothing. It was just, have a couple of drinks, relax, and go to bed.
Yeah. Relax the muscles a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then day 2, you start off with a bike, and then you kayak another 8 miles, and then you bike another 15. Basically, you were averaging 40 miles ish a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ish. Got to throw that ish in there.
And day 2, day 2 and day 3. Well, day 2 was hard because the weather conditions on the ocean.
So would that be your day that you really had to challenge yourself then, like
on the ocean for me? Yes.
Yeah.
But also the last day kayak too, because that was a 12-mile kayak.
Mm-hmm. That was your longest.
It was long, and you were already sore.
Yeah.
And
3 days in already.
Mm-hmm. And I would say it's more of a mental challenge, but that's the whole point. And you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not alone. And literally, like we had a bad boat. For example, we had a bad boat. And instead of just, they got an experienced person to come over, and we switch boats in the middle of the water.
Wow.
So me and the girl that was with me, we had to literally get out of our kayak in the middle of the ocean into another kayak. And we all had to do this weird swap. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But they make sure that they team you up and put you in situations to be successful, but you're never alone.
Yeah.
If you fall too far behind, we'll stop and wait for everybody to catch up, and then we go. And we never get to the end of that leg alone.
What's the timeline? Like 8 a.m. start time? You know, what
I
time?
wish. We were getting up at 4 o'clock every morning. Oh, man. Getting ready, grabbing our transition bags, putting our bags by the U-Haul, and giving it to the trail angels, the ground crew. And then you go and you have breakfast, and you just got to slam, dude, carbs. I mean, donuts, bagels. I mean, trust me, they have a spread. You're not going to go hungry.
Yeah.
Bananas, fruit, cereal, donuts, bagels, hard-boiled eggs, and you just eat as fast as you can. And then Robin comes up and goes, you know, she called us to kids. All right, kids, butts in seats by this, or you don't get your gold star. And you'll figure out what gold stars are if you go on the trip. It's one of those things. And so you just, by that time, you're on your bike, you're with your pilot, and they're like, okay, let's go. And you go we usually started right at sunup. So anywhere between 5 and 5:30, you're on the road, and we finished right around 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Sun up to sundown, you are go, 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 go. And yes, there is lunchtime in between, but it's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is just, you know, I wanted to first say thank you very much for, you know, giving us this all in, you know, giving us the experience, you know, through your experience, you know. But so you finally, you know, finished that last trek, you know, that last day.
That last trek, the final 2 miles was brutal because we kept having blowouts. I was one of them. My bike had a blowout. 2 miles away from the southernmost tip of Florida, and we bike problems, man. Oh, it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a finish line?
There is a finish line, and I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
The one thing I will say is there's no winner, right? There's a finish line, but it's not a race. So we start together, we finish together.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I could say about it, Ray, and you know me, and this is why I love it so much, because every morning it starts with a sermon. And when I say sermons, for those who are not religious, it's not a religious sermon.
Yeah.
It may have, you know, some hints of, you know, spiritual.
Yeah.
But it's stories of those that came before us, that have done and overcome something that may be passed on, or but every day you were motivated, you were inspired, and you were never alone. And the way that they do it, you feel it. It's not just something that they're telling you. You feel it. Right. And there's always some sort of symbolism or some type of connection. And it comes to life as you start your day. And that's the best way that I could put it without you experiencing it.
Right.
You know, is it work? 100%.
Oh, yeah. I just hearing you tell me right now, it's like 120-ish miles.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
But I had the time of my life.
Right.
At the end of the day, crossing that finish line, I didn't care how tired I was. I didn't care how sore I was. I was like, this was one of the most amazingest experiences I've ever been on.
And you did it as someone with a visual impairment.
Yes. And I didn't do it alone.
Right.
I had 3 of my brothers and sisters with me, right? And a whole new family of amputees. And there's this girl named Kay. Kay is amazing. Her second time doing it, she's a double amputee from the knee down.
Oh.
Or above the knee down, actually. In the first year, she was on a tandem. She trained so hard and beat up her body all year and biked all on her own, bro.
Wow. It's awesome.
It was everybody was cheering for her, and it was just, you know me, I was bawling. I don't care. I even said, like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not. And I did really good until they said, until you had to give your thing, right? And then I sort of started, I couldn't even get my first, those who know me, I started my first sentence, that was it. But it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. I recommend it to anybody who wants to give it a whirl. And I'm just being honest. Just keep a couple of things in mind. Availability. Don't give up. If you don't get selected the first year, try again. The second part of it is be prepared to train your butt off.
Yeah.
But you could always call me. I'll help you.
Yeah. There's, like you said, Shanier, Sarah,
Yeah.
Jeff, yourself now, and Kenny, of course. There's so many people here in the Central Valley in California that have done Project Athena and continue to, participate in Project Athena, that there is no short, a demand of support or support. So,
Not at all. I mean, Sarah's really known for doing the harbor to harbors with people and taking people from our community here and giving them that experience. And that's a great place to start. You want something, trust me, from what I heard, it sounds, it's just a 26-mile walk. I heard those walks are brutal, right? But it's a great way to be introduced to Project Athena.
Yeah.
I've heard that they're run the same way, obviously a different adventure, but it's ran the same way.
Right.
So, and they're a little shorter, but yeah, I mean, if you want to start off in entry level in something a little bit more adaptable and accessible, and they could handle those types of volumes of visual impairment more, the harbor to harbors in San Diego would be a great start.
Might be a good story to share as well from Sarah.
Yeah.
So Sarah.
Yep.
Come on. Hop
Sarah.
on the
This is your call, Sarah.
This is your call. I know you're not shy of speaking too.
No. She's like me. She's got the gift of gab. You got to shut us up.
Oh, yeah.
I could talk this all day. If we don't cut it off at some point, we'll be here. For 2 hours.
And I have to remind myself I'm the host this time, so I got to watch this time. And this has been a wonderful, time spent on this journey with you, Jason.
Thank you, Ray.
And any last things you'd like to share with the community?
Yeah, a couple of things. So number one, when it as it pertains to whether it's Project Athena, it don't have to be Project Athena, right? There's so many adaptive sports. We have the skiing coming up. Obviously, we're going to be doing the summer program where we go camping. There's so many other opportunities around us that you could be a part of. And if it's something you're interested in and you're looking for a little bit of extra motivation or someone to help you along the way or coach you and motivate you, reach out to me, man, because it really, what it truly is more than about just Project Athena. It's about our personal journeys and the things that we're going through, and doing things like this and building community is how we get through it.
Right.
So I want that to be a message. And the second thing I'd like to say is, before we started this podcast, you were nervous. You were nervous you nailed it, bro. You've done a really good job. So
well, I see. I have you to support me and train me.
I don't know about that.
See, I was the AT trainer. You're my community what is it?
Podcast or public speaking?
Public speaking.
There you go.
And I need to go back to college and do that again. I'll do a better grade this time. Well, anyways, thank you again, Jason, very much. And thank you all for supporting us this year through 2023 and continuing to support this agency and this podcast. And we wish you all a wonderful and happy holidays and a happy New Year's. And please share this message, because Jason's story was so amazing, and we appreciate you all. And thank you again.
Thanks, man. No, thank you. All right. We'll see you guys next year.